How's it going, guys? Today I'm going to be reviewing the worst headphones I've ever had.
Yo, listen up, here's the story about a little guy that lives...
Okay, before we get started, I should have changed the title of the video to the worst headphones I have ever used, because I've used other people's headphones, and every single one of them sounds like a lot better than this. Alright, so, these are the Sony really long model number that I didn't bother to memorize because you don't need to hear it anyway, because you don't need to buy these. These are apparently $40 on Amazon, and they dropped the price because no one was buying them and no one should. Okay, basically, these things are horrible. Now, before we get started and before we get into the rest of the video, I would like to thank my aunt for buying these. These are her gift to me for Christmas 2014, and it's the thought that counts. But aunt, if you're watching this, I am about to bash the product that you got me. But once again, it's the thought that counts, and thank you very much. Alright, so, getting into it. I judge headphones on two main things: the looks and the function. Function meaning the sound quality, etc., etc. Looks, 0 out of 10. Okay, first thing that jumps out at you is this green. Now, a lot of people might argue, hey, it's electric green, dude, it's cool. Well, these things look like baby barf green to me, and I personally don't like the look of the green. I've seen red versions, I've seen blue versions. All of them look pretty stupid, but they don't look as dumb as this because these are green. And I don't like the shade of green that Sony decided to use. So, yeah, but I could get past the green. But the number of shades of gray that are on this headphone drive me crazy. Okay, there's like a super light gray by the connector, but that doesn't really matter that much because you barely see it. There's a dark gray here and here on the main, and here on the main plastic parts. There's a lighter gray on the ear cup, and then there's sort of a grayish white here. I mean, there's like, this is about to turn into that movie that just came out. I mean, jeez, there's so many different shades of gray on this headphone, and I just don't like that. I wish they used, if they were going to use multiple shades, I wish they would have only used one. Okay, if they use multiple shades, I wish they would have only used 2 instead of like 5. There's almost a new shade for each different part of the headphone. Okay, another thing. This was a nice thought. The fact that they could, like, fold in and out like this, it makes them flatter this way, which increases mobility if you want to put them in your bag or in your purse or whatever. And, but the way they implemented the rotary joint on here, it just looks kind of stupid because it looks sort of like 2 stubs on my head. Now, 2 stubs on my head is okay. Because I've seen implementations like Astro A50s and A40s that have stubs on the side, but they look pretty cool because they're like brushed aluminum awesomeness to have a wire going through them. These look like antennae that haven't grown in yet. I don't like it. Another thing. The way they did the adjusting mechanism isn't very convenient. First of all, it's not very smooth, unlike pretty much every other headphone out there that costs the same price, and yeah, it gets stuck easily, and I just don't like it. And then the last thing, the wires. First of all, this is the first part of the last thing, so it's technically not the last thing, but it's the first part of the last thing. There's 2 wires. And I hate 2 wires on headphones. I think it looks dumb. I think it's pointless. There are headphones that cost a lot less than this, like these things made by a no-name brand. It's called iWave, and I've never even heard of them before, but even this only has 1 wire coming out that powers both drivers. I think if you're gonna have 2 wires coming out of it anyway, you should just go for a higher-end earphone. Or even lower-end earphone, like these Mickey Mouse ones that sound better than this. So, getting into the sound quality. Before we move on, I'd like to say that Sony, you're overhyping this cable. They're like, hey, this cable's serrated so it doesn't get tangled up, which is true. It doesn't get tangled up as easy as the earbuds, because earbuds have sort of a rubberized coating on the wire, and this serrated coating that has a little serrations in it. Doesn't really get tangled up as much, but the thing is they're overhyping it, because when is this ever going to get tangled up? Because it's never going to be in your pocket, because this thing doesn't fit in your pocket. And even if you put it in a drawer or something, because you hate using these things because they're so bad, and you throw it in a drawer, this cable ends up getting tangled up anyway, so they're overhyping something that doesn't really serve much of a function. And then the only good thing about it is it's got a right angle connector that terminates in a gold connection. Terminates in a connection. The gold connection that plugs into your 3.5 millimeter port, whatever, whether it be on your computer, your phone, etc. Your Walkman. I don't know if they make 3.5 connector Walkmans, but if they do, this will plug in there. That's the only good thing about this headphone, and you're not even going to see it, and it doesn't really increase function all that much. So, yeah. Sony's overhyping the wire and the connection. If they're overhyping things that really don't matter that much, you probably get the idea that the thing that actually matters isn't very good. So, moving into the thing that actually matters, the sound quality. These are pretty bad. Yeah, I've heard everything from no-name brands, like the yellow ones I just showed you, to Beats. These fall under the no-name brands. Yeah, the only reason I'm not using the no-name brands anymore is because the connector isn't as good and it broke. If I still had the connector to the no-name brands, I would use that one over this one. So, essentially, these advertise extra bass. They are a takedown model of Sony's flagship extra bass headphones, and these things are bad. Okay, so, extra bass, huh, Sony? Well, how come if it's extra bass, then my little Mickey Mouse earbuds that cost me $8 at the Mickey Mouse store are better than these things? These things actually sound like they're injecting the sound into my ear, and I can actually feel whenever bass is happening. These things are flat. They don't, even on max volume, they don't sound very good. And yeah, I just hate these things. Basically, what happens is there's two different types of bass for me. There's the punchy, sharp, crack bass that happens when a stick hits a drum really hard. And then there's the continuous wavy bass that happens in most dubstep, where it's just a drop for a long period of time. A good example is Tristan and Bracken Flight. Look that up. About midway through the song, there's like a continuous bass drop in the background. These things underperform in both of those categories. The only reason I don't use these with my computer is because the volume isn't as loud as these, and even these aren't as loud. These things, the highs are bad, the mids are bad, the bass I already told you is bad, and these are supposed to be closed back. If they're closed back, you shouldn't be able to hear stuff outside coming in because it's closed. So, I put these on. Another thing, their comfortability is pretty low as well. The clamping pressure is sort of harsh when you first get them and doesn't really break in. I've had these since Christmas, so about 2.5 months. I don't feel like they break in very well. They're still sort of like pushing in on my head and stuff. So yeah, closed back headphones. If I snap my fingers out here, I shouldn't be able to hear it. But when I'm listening to hardcore music, like things that have a lot of bass, I can still hear my fingers, which is not good. You're not supposed to be able to do that if you have a closed back. So yeah, improvements. Everything. I wish that Sony would screw the different shades of gray. I wish Sony would get rid of the green. I wish Sony would fix this or not include it at all and just have it straight, because it's not really much of an improvement. I wish that Sony would get rid of these wires and make them one wire. I wish Sony would improve the bass, since they're advertising these to have like mega awesome bass. I wish that Sony would improve the packaging, because the packaging it came in was a hassle and I had to cut it open with scissors and I threw it away because I didn't want to see it again. Yeah, these things are pretty bad. I give them like 1 out of 10. They're not like so terrible they deserve a 0, but they're pretty bad. And yeah, I'm sorry, Aunt Jen, but I bashed your gift. Forgive me, but I just don't know what else to say about these things other than they're pretty bad and you shouldn't buy them. So, don't buy these. Unless you want to look stupid and want to walk around listening to really weird music because it doesn't sound very good. If you disagree with me, then go try out a headphone that's better and stop buying $40 pieces of crap. That's it. That's the whole thing. So, guys, thanks for watching my review. Don't buy these. And yeah, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And thank you for your time. Peace.
I'm rude, I've been